Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family, and we're delighted that you all have welcomed us into your home. Now, we want to hear from you, so today you can send us an email with any question or any comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. Well, I'm excited about our guest today. His name is Ryan Dellacrosse, and he is the CEO and founder of Fuzati. He has a great little website, ytsync-en. And we went to it, and you may have seen Ryan. He was also on the journey home with wonderful, great testimony with Marcus Grodi. Did a great job.
Well, I know that everybody's getting excited about the 4th of July coming up. Maybe some of you are on vacation already, and we got several days that we took just about 50 miles up from Birmingham to a place, Smith Lake up there.
Yes.
It was a beautiful time, just me and you.
Just me and you, no children, no grandchildren.
And we often
me and you and Jesus.
We're going to see them all on Wednesday, July 4th. But it was just great, you know, enjoy a change of pace. Go away to a lonely place and rest a while. And it was so nice to look out the glass doors that we had, you know, when we were recreating, and just to see a lake. A beautiful lake.
Yes.
And we don't see a lake from our house,
Right.
you know, and just the water was so placid and beautiful. There was a pool there. I swam, and
You swam.
if you want to call it swimming, kind of lumbered along. There's something about being in water
Yes,
that
that's
just
good for your
changes
soul.
everything. So if you're vacationing and you're near some water, get in the water. I mean, the sound of it, going back to that seminal place of your own gestation within your mother's womb, there's something about it there. And it was a great time just to be with you and to relax, and it was wonderful.
No, it was really good. You know, somebody said to me, well, who are you going away with? I said, my husband. And they said, you like that? And I was like, yeah, 41 years. I better like that. Yeah, I mean, I love being with you. And we just had a really good time. We just relaxed. We were refreshed. We were restored. We were renewed. And you really felt like we just stepped out of our lives at a very full and great lives. We love what we do, but it's busy, and it was just nice to be refreshed.
As we come up on July 4th, I'd like to hear from you about anything special you do for July 4th with your family, how you focus on America, the founding of our nation, the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the preamble to the Declaration, putting out a flag. What do you do to help teach your family about the importance of patriotism in the United States of America? We want to hear from you. So Ryan Dellacrosse is up next. He has a wonderful testimony and doing a great work in bringing the gospel of Christ and the church to the world, and in particular young people. ytsync-en.com, go to it. We'll be right back. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, are your kids or your grandkids plugged into all the latest technology? I know ours are. Do you ever wonder about some of the things that they're exposed to? We do. Today, we have as our guest Ryan Dellacrosse, and he's going to tell us about an app for your phone called Little Saint Adventures, and how it can be used to teach your children the faith in a fun and entertaining way. Before we speak to Ryan, we're going to have an update on the World Meeting of Families that is coming up next month in Ireland.
Today I'm managing to get out of the office just a little bit earlier, and I'm collecting my son Daniel. He's 17 and he's studying for his Leaving Cert this year. This is very normal for me with the work that I do in particular, because I could be anywhere in the country. So thankfully Daniel is the type of young man now that he knows that if I'm not going to be home on time, he gets the bus, he gets his dinner and gets on with his homework. That's an enormous aspect of raising a child alone. It's quite normal for us as a family, I think, that we have to just take each day as it comes. So how'd you get on today?
Yeah, we're going fine.
In my early 20s, I decided I was going to travel around the world.
but I only ever got as far as the Channel Islands. And it was there that I met Daniel's dad. That's it. I'd say some of the teachers were too, were they? Daniel definitely was the gift out of that marriage. I have no idea what's for dinner tonight. But marriage became a place of immense pain for me, and I took, I suppose, an even more painful decision and a very difficult decision to come home here to Ireland and to begin to live my life as a single person and as a single parent. The wider family for us is hugely important. I don't know how many times they've come to my rescue. Both myself and Daniel have a very broad perspective on what family is. There might be just the two of us living in this home, but our family is much larger than that.
Pope Francis says to us that no family drops down from heaven perfectly formed. And it is true. I don't think of any of us could say that our family is the perfect family. But our family is a real family. That family is about reality. It's about everyday life.
What a
Welcome back.
huge and important event there. Sorry to cut you off,
Yes,
Joy.
that's okay.
And how fitting to have the World Meeting of Families gathering together in Dublin, Ireland, after the bad news that came forth regarding the legalization of abortion in Ireland. What a blessing to pick up the pace, to move in with life, marriage, the family, the world, coming to Dublin, Ireland, to lift up the sanctity of human life and marriage and the family. So very, very fitting.
Well, it's like just providential, the
Yeah.
whole timing of all that.
EWTN will be covering everything.
Everything. That would be wonderful. Well, we want to bring to you today Ryan Dellacrosse. Who is this guy? He is the CEO and the founder of Fuzati, and he has a great little website called littlesaintadventures.com. And you may have seen him on the journey home.
We did.
We
Yeah,
did, and
it's
he
good.
gave a great
Powerful.
testimony. So after today, if you haven't seen it, just go to YouTube, EWTN On Demand, and find Ryan's testimony with Marcus. Excellent. Well, we welcome you to At Home, Ryan, and we want you to tell our family a little bit about your background. Did you always think you would be doing what you're doing, and what did God do to you to lead you in this shift with your career?
Yeah, thanks for having me on your show. Yeah, so I mean, like a lot of nominal Catholics growing up, you know, we went to church every Sunday, prayed over meals. You know, I just kind of fell away from the church when I went to college, you know, and developed, you know, very hedonistic style of life, didn't go to church anymore. Played baseball in college, and you know, got a call from the Dodgers, and you know, I couldn't go play because I was too far down the line of doing a lot of you know, horrible things, and just couldn't get out of it, you know. And so, you know, for a couple years there, I was struggling, you know, and I guess my baptism kind of kicked in. I started thinking about the church again, and I was working with this guy, and he was just happy all the time.
Yeah.
And it was just like sickening to me. I'm like, why is he happy all the time? And he invited me on a Catholic retreat the CFRs were putting on. They're around here a lot. I think they have a show with you guys. And so yeah, I went on the retreat and had a encounter with Christ in the Eucharist. Whoa, was that crazy? And yeah, just radically changed my life after that. And moved next door to a perpetual adoration chapel, prayed there every day.
Did you move there intentionally?
Yeah.
I
yeah.
loved that when you shared that. I
Yeah.
mean, that was the best thing to do.
Well, yeah, if you think about a hedonist, right? It's like, if it feels good, where do I get more?
Right.
So, it kind of is fitting that the way that God would draw me into, you know, relationship with him is through the, you know, the love that he has, right? The physical manifestation of that love, right? So, yeah, so he did it, and, you know, I just was like, where do I get more of this? And I started driving around and meeting people at adoration, and I'm like, man, they got perpetual adoration somewhere? Yeah, they told me that. I was like, they're doing it all the time? Yeah, okay, now I don't have to drive around everywhere. I can just go live next to this chapel. So I became a parishioner there, and then 2 years of going literally every day. I was just like, I guess I'll just go in the seminary. I mean, I love the Eucharist so much. I'd love to share it with people and be a part of that. So I went to the seminary, and God calls us to something, right, that we don't necessarily want, but in time it makes sense, looking back. And I don't think God wanted me. I don't think my calling was not to be a priest. My calling was to have a family and to do what I'm doing now. And so, but I wanted to be a priest. I was like, I really want to do this. But it was a beautiful experience because, you take a look at the way that I was feeling about stuff. Well, the seminary added like theology and philosophy. And so it really kind of gave me this formation that I never thought I never dreamed of having. And so it was great. And it was there where I got this call. I was doing a Marian consecration with some of my seminarian brothers. And that's where I got this call to evangelize through media. And so, long story short, I started messing around with it, and during the consecration, and was blessing a lot of people. And I just realized the potential there. And then I was at a stop sign, and I saw someone staring at the phone, and I just heard God whisper, he's like, take me there. Take me there. Yeah. I want to be there.
Yeah, I remember from your testimony, it sounded like this was a guy in a car, and he's looking at his phone, and a light was shining on his face, you said, and the Lord said to you, take me there.
Yeah.
That's incredibly powerful. I mean,
Yeah.
as you know, and with the whole debate and positives and negatives regarding social media and all this, FaceTime with the phone.
Yeah.
But all that stuff is basically neutral. I mean, it could be used for good or bad. But when you think about the Lord saying, take me there, I want my face there, I want my presence there. I mean, this really gripped you.
Yeah, and I left the seminary, and there's this crooked path, of me getting married and moving to DC, and so the whole thing just kind of fell away for a little while, and then it just picked back up, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that call. And so anyways, our company exists as an infrastructure. I mean, we reach 20 million of these things every week on our phone.
When you say your company, that's Fusati?
Fusati, yeah.
Fusati.
Yeah, Fusati is a marketing infrastructure for ministries to plug into us and to grow, and using marketing practices, and a lot of it's digital.
Okay.
And so we reach 20 million Catholics on our Facebook walls and our websites.
20 million.
20 million a week. So you see that call, and you fast forward 15 years later, and I'm sitting there looking at it going, I can't believe that
really happened.
That really happened.
But you see, the beautiful thing about Jesus is everything that happens in our path, and we think it's all crooked.
Yeah.
And a lot of our junk is crooked in the way we go. But he makes it straight.
Yeah.
And so like if you said something 15 years, 10 years, he's always planting the seed. Yeah. And like you said, as you look back, you go, oh my gosh, this all makes sense. Because he uses everything for his honor and his glory. Even our sinfulness, he turns all of our evil into good, that you could minister, that you could share, that you can have the heart to someone who is in darkness and far from God. Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, I was there, that's me.
Well, introduce us to this, I guess it's a subcomponent of Fusati, is the Little Saint Adventures.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
So Little Saint Adventures was conceived in my home. When I started Fusati, I was working out of the house, and my 9-month-old son was there. And, even though I had theological training, I was like, how do you talk to a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old, or, because, as the kids get older, their brains are different, the way they function is different. So it was just something that I was like interested in. And I thought to myself, we should probably help parents, with forming this relationship with their children, right?
Age range like 3 to 8 with this?
Yeah, this app is age 4 through 8, 4 through 7, depending on the child. There's about 70 games and activities in there, and they're packaged in different worlds. So, you go to World Francis Forest, and it's about creation. And they'll hear the Bible story, and they interact with God as they create. And then, there's quizzes and games where they're shooting snakes with apples. And so it's just understanding that. And then the parent portal, they get, the parents get notifications on what their children learn. So for example, your son Joe just learned that, about creation. Here's some things you can do at home with them offline, right? To reinforce that relationship, right? And I as we were building it, I was practicing it on my kids, and it was really beautiful to see, the interaction between, it's kind of like me coming full circle. I don't know how to do it, now I know how to do it.
Right.
So we hired curriculum experts, we hired animators, illustrators, coders, and the group all got together and came up with this. It took 2 years to build, if you can believe it. It's a big
So
undertaking.
theologically
That is big.
sound, kosher for Catholic use, but attractive, fun,
Yeah.
animated, as you said. It's catechetical.
Very, yeah.
Okay.
There's over 1,000 points of catechesis in the app itself.
Okay.
So-
Tell me the components again to it within the world, with the different aspects that they go to. You said that there's games, there's quizzes, there's a story, questions
Right.
and answers, all these kinds of things.
Yeah, so the world has a theme, and for example, in the parish family world, they learn all about the sacraments. In Nazareth, they learn that Jesus had a family, and who all his family is. And so the themes that we put in there have a saint on a introductory level, introducing the world, and then there's a menu bar that comes out for each world where there's anywhere from 5 to 12 games, and inside of those games, we call them activities, is scripture stories, reinforcing the theme, quizzes and game activities, matching, drag and drop, puzzles. We also have a book too. It's a companion book, and what we realized is that when we were talking to some of the parents, we get these ideas of what to do at home with them, but they want it kind of packaged. So we made some of the offline activities. We put them in a book, so a parent can buy a book or a grandparent can buy a book
And then just have it.
open it up and say, hey, you learned this. Let's
Yeah.
flip it in here, and
That's
But I'm a
perfect.
digital person, so for me, it's like I get the
Yeah.
picture, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Well, Ryan, thanks so much for introducing us to this great work of marketing and technology and discipling of young people. Go to littlesaintadventures.com, littlesaintadventures.com. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Well, Ryan Dellacrosse is joining us today. Before we continue our discussion, we're going to go straight to Rome to hear from Joan Lewis. Joan, the Pope has some new cardinals to advise him. What can you tell us about that?
Well, greetings from a very hot Rome. It's just like it is with you all, perfect weather for the first week of July. And it's been a couple of days here that have been very event-filled for sure. We had the consistory right behind us in St. Peter's, where 14 new cardinals were created. Later that afternoon in the Paul VI Hall, the Apostolic Palace, we, the public, could have courtesy visits and see and meet the new cardinals. Then on June 29th, there was a mass during which that was in St. Peter's Square, very hot. There was a mass in which the palliums that are given to new metropolitan archbishops, those were blessed by the Pope. Then the Pope attended a luncheon for the poor, and then on Sunday we had the Angelus. Now Sunday, of course, yesterday was July 1st. That's kind of like the official beginning of a working vacation for the Pope. And his only scheduled events for July are supposed to be the Angelus, no Wednesday audiences or anything like that. Now looking back over a few days, there was an interesting break with tradition on June 29th. Normally that is the day in which a pope not only blesses, but bestows the palliums on the shoulders of the new archbishops. This is the symbol of their authority and of their link to the See of Peter. Well, in 2015, the Pope changed that. And what he did then was simply hand the blessed palliums to the new archbishops, who then would have it placed on their shoulders in their own cathedral by the nuncio of that country. But this 29th was quite exceptional. It was a very surprising break with tradition. The palliums were given to the new archbishops in a box. They were handed not by the Pope, but just by some Vatican officials. So a very interesting break there. And then another kind of not break with tradition, but maybe it was in a way. The papal almoner, who is Polish Cardinal Konrad Krajewski, to celebrate his getting the red hat, he held a dinner for several hundred poor people in the Vatican's cafeteria. And the Pope was a surprise visitor. He came, he sat down at the table, chatted with people, kind of interacted with kids. So very interesting, colorful, event-filled few days. So, but even if it's the Pope's vacation, so to speak, there's always news from the Vatican. So stay with us. See you in a few days.
Joan, thanks so much for another wonderful report. God bless the Holy Father, our cardinals. God bless the time of refreshment for him. Ryan, good to be back with you for a few more minutes. Little Saint Adventures, this wonderful catechetical, fun, adventuresome, project that you have, ages about 4 to 7, 4 to 8, something like that. How's the best way to get a hold of it, to learn more about it, to acquire it, and who should get it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're in 100 countries, all over the world. So we're in the App Store, Google and Apple. So you can get it there. If you want to buy it as a gift or get it online, you can get it on the website. You can buy it for a friend or give it away as a gift. Yeah, grandchildren. So you can buy it on the web too as well. So like I said, we're in 100 countries. It's just crazy how when you see all these people from all these different countries using it, it's really amazing.
So now I'm going to ask you a technical question. I'm a grandmother. I am the godmother. We are the godparents of some of our grandchildren. Those kids are done. We're really covering them. And so if I want to purchase that for them, how do I do that? I go to the store. Is it best to go to the website? And then do I send it to their mother's phone?
Yeah, you can do that. If you want to gift it, you can go to the website and there's a button that says buy as a gift.
Okay.
And then it asks you to put in who you're gifting it to.
Touche. Good.
And you would put their email address in, and they'll get an email that says you just got a gift from your godmother.
There you go.
And they can put it on their phones.
Isn't that the best gift to give as a godmother? And
I know.
And children are in that age group are making their first communion.
Yep.
Right? And so that's a great gift that you can give.
Yeah.
Ryan, thanks so much for being with us. We look forward to continuing the conversation Wednesday, learning more about your company, Frazzati, and this whole idea of communicating the gospel through the media. So thank you for being with us today. We pray the show has been an encouragement to you in building up the domestic church, because it's not just catechetical teaching, it's the whole family doing this together, learning about Christ and about his church. Keep it on EWTN. Bye now.